Hello YouTube! Today we are doing a review of Ombre Leather by Tom Ford. So, here's the box. It's all black. It's got Tom Ford right there. Uh, Here's the bottle. It's like some kind of... I'm not 100% sure if it's glass, or it feels kind of heavy like glass, but... I don't know if it's metal or maybe some kind of lacquered glass in a matte. It's like a matte black finish. The cap is a metal and it feels a little cheap and thin. It's definitely metal. It tings when you hit it with your. It's got TF on top. Uh, it's a really nice presentation. Some people don't like it. I like it a lot. I think it's really nice. It's simple. It's black. It's cool. It's sleek. They didn't try to go too ostentatious with it or anything like that. This is like a little black leather imprint label on here. It says Tom Ford Ombre Leather. So, spray. Let's see. Spray over there. What does it smell like? Okay, that a little it smelled a little too close, a little too quick. But what it is, the broad general spectrum idea that you're gonna get here is Tuscan Leather Light. It's not exactly that. Tuscan leather derives a lot of it's got its leather, and then on the other side is sweetness from the raspberry, and they come together and make that little sweetened leather thing that they got going on. So, ombre leather, it's more of a sweetness. It's not raspberry. It doesn't quite have the tartness that brings with it. It's got some like a white floral flower sweetness. I don't know exactly what it is, but whatever that is takes the place of the raspberry, and it comes together to a lot of the same effect. But it does differ in the dry down. So like the dry down of Tuscan leather, basically Tuscan leather doesn't really evolve too much for me. A lot of people say it goes smoky ashy. I don't really get a lot of that. It kind of just comes on strong with the leather and the raspberry, and it kind of peters down. It loses the raspberry a little bit quicker than it loses the leather, but it doesn't really lose. It pretty much stays the same. There's not a lot of drastic change in Tuscan leather. Ombre leather, the private blend had more drastic change in the development as it went through. The fragrance developed more. I assume that was because of the use of little better materials. This doesn't have as much development, but that leather and the sweetness in classic Tom Ford fashion really kind of just peters out, goes home. It's got some, like the sweetness in the background, and so I feel like basically what they did is they took the Tuscan leather profile, they lightened it up instead of going, because raspberry can be a little harsh on smelling. The tartness is a little much. It's a little aggressive. So they toned it down with some more rounded sweetness on that side. And then I don't know exactly what the smell is, but there's like some kind of mass pleasing. I don't want to say ambers, something like that in the background that they drive through, that really makes them all smell. A lot of the signature blends have that. It goes through and it makes it smell it really good, but kind of cheap a little bit. But it's mass pleasing, and they do that, I assume, to sell it. So it's like they made it more acceptable for the mainstream and for everybody. I get good longevity from it, not wild longevity. It's not one of those I put it on and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be smelling like this for the next 12 hours. It smells fine. It does come on pretty strong. It's a little heavy, a little much right away when you put it on, but I find Tuscan leather sometimes is a little too aggressive, and I find like Yukawam say that I find that way too strong and way too sweet. So and this is kind of a nice little middle ground fragrance. I feel like they did a really good job. So uh, they're widely available. I mean, you could probably find these at most Sephora's and stuff like that. So you could find it to test it. Uh, Otherwise, I would say, yeah, the 120-ish range is you're looking for a big bottle. That'd be a good score, a good price point. So Tom Ford, Ombre Leather.